Bienvenue sur Les Jongleuses, le podcast qui vous donne les clés pour jongler avec légèreté entre toutes les facettes de votre vie. Je m'appelle Ruth Manou et je suis coach de vie certifiée. Je suis aussi 2 fois maman, passionnée de musique et de pop culture. Et toutes les 2 semaines, je m'inspire de tout ça pour vous aider à retrouver votre voix intérieure, loin des injonctions et des chemins balisés. Pourquoi ? Pour que vous puissiez jongler avec fluidité entre toutes les facettes de votre vie. Je vous donne rendez-vous un vendredi sur 2 pour un nouvel épisode. Abonnez-vous à la newsletter ou sur votre plateforme d'écoute préférée pour être notifié des nouvelles sorties. Et je compte sur vous pour partager largement autour de vous et pour laisser une pluie d'étoiles et de commentaires partout où c'est possible. Bonne écoute! Hello tout le monde, j'espère que vous allez bien. Je suis ravie de vous retrouver aujourd'hui pour un nouvel épisode en bonne compagnie. Vous allez m'entendre coacher ma cliente Jenny. Son objectif de départ pour cette session était de changer la tonalité de son discours intérieur, de plus en plus négatif et critique à son propre égard. Elle est arrivée à un point critique où ce discours interne, devenu particulièrement virulent, l'empêche d'avancer sur l'une des fondations de sa future entreprise, en l'occurrence la création et la rédaction de son site internet. Cette conversation vous parlera sûrement si, comme Jenny, vous aussi, vous vous jugez durement sur ce que vous faites et encore plus sur ce que vous n'arrivez pas à faire. En gros, si vous avez un peu l'impression d'être comme attaquée en permanence par un critique de poche particulièrement méchant avec vous. Si c'est le cas, cet épisode est l'occasion pour moi de vous rappeler qu'il est possible de changer la tonalité de ce discours intérieur et d'en faire une bande-son positive, soutenante et motivante. Ce n'est absolument pas une fatalité, ça se travaille et ça se change, comme vous en entendrez un fragment dans cet épisode. J'espère que vous y trouverez des éléments d'explication et de réponse que vous pourrez appliquer à votre propre situation. Si vous vous reconnaissez dans cette description et que vous aussi, vous avez envie de rendre votre discours intérieur plus positif, le plus efficace est de travailler sur votre situation particulière, sur les racines de ce discours interne, les raisons pour lesquelles il s'obscurcit et les situations où il est le plus négatif. Le lien pour réserver votre appel découverte au Faire est dans les notes de l'épisode. C'est le meilleur moyen d'identifier si et comment un accompagnement en coaching pourrait vous y aider. Je vous donne rendez-vous de l'autre côté. And until then, enjoy the episode. Bonne écoute. Thank you so much, Jenny, for coming here to play with me. I'm really excited to have this session with you and to show people what coaching is.
I'm really excited for this. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. So let's do this. What would you like to work on today?
So today I'd like to work on kind of I tend to be very hard on myself, your own worst enemy. And so I'd like to work on just my thought process in that terms of how I think towards myself.
Okay. So working on a kinder self-talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how does this self-talk shows up for you today?
Today, it's not very kind. It's like, oh, you're so lazy. Oh, you're not doing that well enough. Or why are you even trying? This isn't working. And then it goes into the spiral where I just don't move forward at all. Even though in my head, I actually know I'm just being too hard on myself, but it's hard really seeing it for what it is rather than feeling it, if that makes any sense.
Tell me more about that.
For the past couple of years, I've really worked on how to manage my mental health, being someone who has a bit of anxiety. And so I've been also working a lot on not focusing so much on how much time things take me, but more how much energy do I have? What can I actually get done today? And when I manage to do it, it works out great. Sometimes I don't do much, but then the next day I can do twice as much because I rested. But then most of the time when I try to do that, then it's like, well, I know I should technically rest. This is what I said I would do. But then it's like, but you said you would. And you're just trying to be lazy right now. So you have to stop being lazy. You have to just push yourself and do it. And, it's just kind of talking down to yourself, really. So I'm building a website. So I'm writing the copy. And for about 2 hours, I was just there with a blank page because I'd write a sentence, take it away, write a sentence, take it away. Because I'd write it and then go, no, that's stupid. You're being stupid. Take it away. And then nothing happens. It's just kind of gets in your way.
It makes so much sense that you're bringing this topic today, because it sounds like you have a lot of self-awareness, that you know yourself, that you know your kind of your cycles working well when you're well rested. Sounds like you know how to manage your energy, but it also seems like it doesn't connect emotionally with you.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, so no wonder you want to work on that topic, really. When you think about that, having a kinder self-talk to yourself, reducing the voice, also what I'm hearing, a loud inner critic in your ear all of the time. So when you think about that, what specific goal you would like to have accomplished by the end of our session together?
I think I would like to have some kind of strategy, because I don't think I'm going to stop those thoughts coming. But if I could find some kind of strategy to distance myself from those thoughts, or maybe even recognize that that's what's happening, then I think from there I could make a choice to not listen or to listen, whichever I take. But I can actually make the choice then.
It sounds like you want to be more conscious about how you respond to that inner talk. How true is that?
100% true. Completely.
Yes, it makes so much sense. But I'm very curious. Why do you think that it's not going to stop?
I think it could. Absolutely. I think it's just going to take a long time. And for right now, there's some big goals that I really want to achieve, like starting my business, or in general just living the life that I've been working towards living. And I think step one of coming, or maybe not step one, maybe step one is noticing that this is happening, but one of the steps is, I think for me, is recognizing in the moment, this is what's happening. Okay, how can I distance myself? Okay, now I can choose. And I think if I'm able to do that, maybe I can start getting used to it, because it really is unlearning in a way. And I think if I can start practicing that, it'll become easier and easier and easier until it doesn't become as hard anymore. Or that's the hope anyways.
I love how you put this, because it really sounds like you are aware of what's going on. It sounds like it's something you've been practicing and practicing and practicing, this inner self-talk, talking down to yourself. And from what I'm hearing, you do have big goals right now. So no wonder it's so loud right now. And I love how, I was going to say realistic you are about the fact that it's a process, right? That it's not going to happen overnight, that it's not going to disappear. And I love, love, love the way you approach this. Really, congratulations to you on wanting to increase your self-awareness around this, on recognizing when it happens, and, wanting to respond rather than react. How does that land for you?
Oh no, that's 100% true. And thank you. That feels really nice to hear. I'm like, oh.
No, but it's true though. It's true, because oftentimes when we recognize something that's not working, a lot of people are like, okay, let's change this. Meanwhile, it's something you've been doing your whole life. So it's not going to go away most of the time in 1 week. So yeah.
And I've tried. Doesn't work.
Congratulations to you on that amazing self-awareness.
Thank you. Thank you.
So when you think about the end of our session, what will be your measure of success around this goal?
I think it will, it won't be something concrete, but I think it will feel concrete, like something that could really help me in those moments. Maybe what I think it is, and this is going to sound really weird, but I think it might be like an excitement to get those bullying thoughts so that I can try it out.
I love that. Come at me, I'm ready kind of a spirit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's like you're so ready to practice something different. I love it.
I really am. I'm so ready to do this.
Oh my goodness, it makes so much sense. So a sort of excitement to have the thoughts coming so that you can practice. When you think about this excitement, right, and the thoughts coming and you feeling super excited, and imagine a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, oh my goodness, I do not want them to come at me. I'm not ready. I need this to stop. 10 being, I am so ready. Thoughts come at me. Where are you right now in terms of excitement?
Right now, maybe a 4.
Okay, a 4. Why is it not like a 2 or a 1?
Yeah, I don't want them to come because they're so unhelpful. They're so unproductive. They just hold me back. But at the same time, I am starting to get a little excited for what we gain in this session. That a part of me already feels starting to get ready, and then I think also part of me just knows at this moment it's inevitable. It's gonna come. So a part of me is like, well, there's not much point in being at a 1 because they're still gonna be there.
What a great way to approach this, to see those thoughts that are so unhelpful and so counterproductive, to see them as an opportunity. This is amazing. Congratulations to you for having this viewpoint on this.
Thank you.
I love it. That's amazing. It feels good to me too. So, we're all feeling good.
Perfect.
So when you think about finding a strategy to distance yourself from this inner self-talk, this way that you talk down to yourself, what about it is so important to you?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think something that's very easy. It might be so easy, it seems so obvious, and that you can just do right in the moment. I think if it gets too complicated, I'm just not going to do it. So I think something very easy and something I can do by myself.
Tell me more about that.
Well, one, because I won't always have someone around me, but I think also it's hard to tell people, well, right now I'm being really hard on myself, and to say that out loud. Also because I tend to see myself as quite high maintenance sometimes, but I'm okay with that. And I do have anxiety, so I do ask for a lot of help when it comes to that. And I know it's okay, but then I prefer not to ask for more help than that, if possible.
It makes a lot of sense that you would want to be self-sufficient and take care of yourself and manage your inner talk when it gets nasty at you. But I'm really curious, what do you mean by I'm high maintenance?
That's a really good question. I've never really thought about it much. I guess for me, with my anxiety, I'm also a bit of hypochondriac, so I can get a headache and then think I have a brain tumor. And so I have my partner who is so supportive, and he'll Google for me my symptoms so I don't have to see all the ones that say you're dying. And I guess I like being taken care of, like being a little bit of a princess, being like, "Oh, do you mind getting that for me?" So I could, but could you do it? So I guess those things, I would say. I'm a bit of a control freak. But that part actually works well because with my partner, he is not, and he hates the planning, he hates the lists and the taking care of stuff. And because he hates it, I get to do it, and I love doing it. So that actually balances out. Yes, maybe not so much that. I think it's the other two stuff.
Okay. Tell me more about that control freak part.
For me, if I have something planned and things go according to schedule, or I have a list or anything like that, then I feel more in control. If I don't know what's going on or what's going to happen, I feel like I'm just going to forget everything I need to remember. And then it's almost kind of like being a free fall. And you forgot the parachute. Is kind of the feeling that, I guess, yeah. Yeah. So for me, when I go to bed, I think about everything I need to do the next morning. And then the next morning, I write the list for the day. And that way I don't have to worry about remembering because I've already written it down. I've already thought it out. And I like that. It makes me feel safe. And in general, if something is happening, so my parents are coming to visit in the weekend, I say I'll plan the whole thing. I'll take care of all of it. And that way I can plan it so that I can take into accordance of how everyone's feeling, even though anyone else would do that as well. But now I know it's getting done. Yeah, I guess it's a safe feeling in it.
It makes so much sense. And again, it's amazing to see how you know yourself. And it sounds like you have a very active mind, which is sometimes super helpful, like when you needed to plan ahead and make sure everything goes according to plan. But it also sounds like sometimes it's, as you said, it's your worst enemy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like being a planner. I like being very organized. And sometimes it actually calms me to go through my plans, go through my list, and sometimes it just stresses me out, and then it kind of spirals.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. But it does sound like for the part of you that's quote unquote control freak, which is like being a planner, and the part of you which is quote unquote high maintenance, it sounds like you look at those parts with almost a fondness for them. Like it works, it also gets you in contact with your partner in a way that you love. That seems like it works for the two of you. So it sounds like you have a fondness for those part of you that are kind of quirks, but cute quirks when, like, I hear you talk about it. How true is that?
You know what? You're really good. That's actually true. I don't mind being high maintenance. I don't mind being a bit of a control freak. And I think it's because, I live with my partner, so I spend most of my days with him. And it works in our relationship. And I think because it works, then it can become those little quirks and it balances out in a way. So I don't really mind those. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay. So I'm really curious how the harsh, quote unquote, harsh inner talk plays out with those two aspects of you that could be perceived as high maintenance or control freak, but are not. So I'm really curious, how do they play out together?
With a high maintenance part, it can be a bit of a worry that it's too much. And that's in particular, well, it's really only when it comes to my anxiety because I am aware it can be a lot. And it's a lot better now. I've come to a point where I'm actually managing it quite well, which I'm very happy about. But it can still be a lot, if I'm at work and something happens where I get worried and then I call my partner because I know I can't Google it because it's just going to be worse. And I have to call him at work to do it for me. And then I do get worried that it's a bit much. That's a bit too much. And I don't want to jeopardize anything because it is so good. So I think there it's more my thoughts saying like, come on, you could have done that yourself. Or, you didn't have to freak out so much, or it's too much. You got to dial it down. You got to dial it down for everyone's sake. And I'll talk to him about it. And he says, well, are you kidding? Like, of course it's not too much. Call me, whatever you need. But still in my head doesn't believe that. I mean, I believe him, but it's more I don't believe me saying it. In terms of liking to plan, if I don't follow my plan, then I can, start telling myself like, oh, you're so lazy. You weren't good enough to finish everything because you didn't do it fast enough. You took too long. That way, you're just being stupid right now. Or you didn't plan that well enough. You know that you wouldn't have time for everything. So why did you put it all in there for that day? So it can become a lot of that. And sometimes I do cross things out of my plan because I just know I'm not going to have time. And I hate it. I hate crossing it out because then in a way it's like I failed, which I don't like doing.
Yeah, no wonder then that you want to tackle this inner talk that negative inner talk, because when you were describing those traits of yours earlier, it was really with great fondness. Whereas now, when you put the two or the three of them in a relationship, it sounds like you like those traits less. And it sounds like it also decreases the quality of your life, your self-perception, your relationships. How true is that?
100% true. 100%.
Right. So what do you believe you need to address or resolve in order to achieve your goal around this negative inner talk?
I think maybe it would be, so you know that there's the saying, don't let perfect get in the way of good. And I think, well, I don't see myself much of a perfectionist, but I think letting things just be good rather than the best. If I can learn how to do that, for example, writing for my website, if I just didn't have to worry about it being good, and I could just get something on the paper, and then that's something to start working with, and I can make it better later on. But if I'm always concerned with it being as good as possible, or as great as possible, then I'm never going to write anything. So I think looking at that, I don't know if that made any sense. So
What makes you think it doesn't make sense?
I don't know. You know, sometimes when you just start rambling in your head and then you're just not following your own thoughts, really, kind of like vomiting out.
It's fine. Like, we're two brains on this. We got this. It's
Perfect.
okay.
Amazing.
Okay, so you said, don't let perfect in the way of good. But when you were describing your process, writing your copy for your website, you didn't say, I'm trying to do something perfect. You said, I'm trying to be something that's as good as possible, and then I can make it better. When you were describing it, it wasn't like you were striving for perfection. So what's going on here?
So that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm telling myself that's how I'm going to do it. But every time I start writing, I think of a sentence in my head and then it just doesn't feel good enough. It's, you know, it's just not even worth writing down. So I think even though that's what I want to do, it doesn't really end up being what I'm doing.
So let me see if I get this straight. What you just told me was what you wish you would tell yourself. Like, let's do it. At least it's going to be as good as it gets. And then I can improve it later on. But it sounds like what's really going on for you in the background is it has to be perfect, or it's not worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
What does perfection look like for you?
I think, and I don't know if this sounds really bad, but I think when I show others, I can feel proud and not embarrassed. For me, that's the point I always strive to get to. Because if it's just for me, it doesn't matter. It's just me.
Right now, you're writing for yourself. You're not showing your process to anyone. Or I could be wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. But I know that people will see it. But before that, I wrote my business plan, and that was no problem. I could write it fine because that was just a plan for myself to make sure I'd thought through every detail. And then it was no problem writing anything. And being bilingual, I would even mix languages because I couldn't think of the word. It doesn't matter. It's just me seeing it. It's only me who has to understand it.
What about showing it to other people mean to you?
I think it would mean, I'm not really sure, but the only word that's coming like out to me in my head is like, well, that means I'm proud of it. It means I've worked hard. This is something, it's worth something to me.
What does it look like when you're proud of something?
I think I tend to just tell everyone out of my close friends and my family. I'll tell them and I'll show it. I won't just say this is what I'm doing. I'll actually show what I'm doing. I think it's just a feeling of being content and calm, in a way.
Okay, that sounds lovely. When was the last time you felt like that about something?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Um, well, I started to help with my anxiety, I started doing yoga, and then I started getting more flexible. And as someone who has never been flexible, like could barely touch my knees, like bending down, all of a sudden I could get my whole palm down, and for me that was really cool. And I actually showed them. I was like, "Look what I can do."
That's amazing. I love it.
So I think that was one where it's like I just don't even care that I'm like a little kid showing my mom that I can touch the floor with my hands. Um, but I was just, proud that I'd made that progress. As someone who hates working out, that I actually stuck with it.
That sounds lovely. When else did you feel that proud and that you had to show everybody what you were up to?
This is going to sound really superficial, but my closet.
It
uh,
does not sound superficial.
I'm a big fan of very colorful imprinted clothing. And I currently work in fashion as my full-time job, so I get a lot of free stuff, which is great. And it means I have a very big closet. So whenever someone comes over, I always leave my closet door open. It's so ridiculous, but it's like for me, that's a part of the detail in the bedroom.
I love that. That's amazing. It's absolutely adorable.
And my partner will close it and I'll go back and open it.
Please, this is part of the show.
This
Okay,
is
you didn't.
this is part of the decorations, okay? And they said, "Well, why can't I open mine?" I'm like, we can only open one of the doors at a time, and mine is a lot more fun to look at. Like,
Oh, that sounds lovely. Okay, I actually have an observation about what you just said. I'm going to share it if that's okay.
yeah,
It
absolutely.
sounds like for the yoga and for the closets, it's really, there's almost a childlike delight or wonder, you know? How true is that?
No, 100%. It really is.
Yeah.
It really, really is. And it becomes like, oh, what else can I find? Or, with clothing, for me, it's such a confidence thing. What I wear will determine so much in how I feel. And for example, every time I go into a job interview, it's not the most professional clothing, but I feel great in it, which means I'm going to be super confident. Or with the yoga, it's like, oh, what else can I learn? And then I've learned another thing, and it just then you get better and better and better, and it just becomes yeah, fun, really.
That's lovely. So when you think about those two other areas of your life, and then you think about what you're trying to do here, like you took the example of the copy, so we can continue with that. How come this element of fun and childlike delight is absent from this?
That's a really good question. I think because both of those things are fun, the yoga and the clothes, or like I play the ukulele. And when I started, I said, I'm not going to practice. I'm not going to get good. I'm just going to play. And they meant it didn't matter if it wasn't good or not. And I kept playing and I kept having fun and I got better and better. But that wasn't the point. It was just to have fun. And I still play terribly, but I just really don't give a shit. So even if, with my family's very musical, so they'll bring out the instruments and they play really well. And I'll bring out the ukulele and play completely wrong. And it doesn't matter. I think in all of those things, it's all fun. Whereas the result of writing for the website will be fun, but the process of writing it, it's really boring. It's really boring sitting in a room by yourself on the weekend or in the evenings after work, trying to get yourself to do this work. That I find actually writing quite difficult, and writing something catchy and fun, I find it really hard. So yeah, there's just no fun in it at all.
Yeah. Oh my God. It makes so much sense when you explain it like that. Like, I mean, if with the ukulele, your goal was to play at a concert, that would have added so much more pressure and it wouldn't have been fun.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
yeah, right? It sounds like you didn't have an end goal in mind. And so it was just fun. You got to enjoy the process and to just get creative and to make mistakes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think the pressure part is so true. There's just so much pressure with this. I've taken a really big risk with it. And yeah, there's just a lot of pressure weighing on it.
Where is the pressure coming from?
I mean, it's coming from myself, definitely, because I feel like I worked so long towards building that life that I want, and I'm so close to it. And I already have it in a way. It's just the work part that I want to change, and I am doing it. I just really don't want to fail. Because if this works, then I'll love my personal life and I'll love my work life. I mean, I will never need or want anything. And sounds pretty fantastic to me. And that's funny because I always thought the pressure was, starting your own business, the money thing. But it's not really that because I've set plans into place to make sure that that pressure isn't there. So I don't know why I thought that was the pressure. I think it's just getting to live that life that I want to, and I want it so bad. I really do. I mean, my full-time job, even though it's great with with the free clothes, I really don't like it.
It makes so much sense because it sounds like you're on the threshold of something you've always wanted.
Yeah. Even as a little kid, I've always wanted, a job that I loved because that's what my dad had. And he used to always say, like, oh no, it's Friday, the worst day of the week, because then I have to wait until Monday to work. He's overly positive, almost too positive. But so I've just always wanted that. Always, always.
It makes so much sense that when you have that in mind and you want this so bad, it makes a ton of sense that it's turning into pressure, right? Because it sounds like there is so much at stake for you.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Didn't realize that.
Yeah. What are you learning about this whole thing?
I think in one way, and I think I always did know that I was just putting the pressure on myself, but I think I was putting that on others. I put pressure from others because I don't want them to see me fail. But it's actually not that. I don't want to fail because I feel so close. And it's this thing that I actually for a while didn't think was going to happen, of finding a job that I love. I'm so, so, so close to it. I guess in a way it's still going to happen. It just, maybe it'll happen this way, maybe it'll happen another way. You never know. So I'm definitely learning that I'm putting all this pressure when there actually isn't much reason to, because the pressure I'm putting on myself is the pressure to be happy, whereas the pressure is making me not happy, which is quite funny. So is that, and how is one of my core values is fun, and I'm realizing that I'm just really not listening to myself, not the constructive part of myself that I'm trying to develop. That I knew that fun was one of my very core values because it means I don't judge. You remove that pressure, and yet I'm not using it.
It makes a lot of sense that when you're under stress, your values might be a little bit clouded.
Yeah,
It's like 100% human behavior, right? So it's no wonder that you forgot your value of fun because all you could see was the pressure of writing the copy and forcing yourself through the process with your super loud inner critic in your ear all of the time.
yeah.
So when you remember that core value of yours, how would you like to approach this copywriting you're doing?
I don't know. I did try at one point with my partner to have just a conversation and then have the Word document dictate it, but it didn't work. Unfortunately, just it really didn't work. It was actually quite funny reading after. It made zero sense. um, I don't really know. I think having someone to talk to, I know that definitely helps because it takes me out of my head. And he is someone that I trust to say all these stupid things, like, or they're not stupid, but just try things out. And we have tried before to take a walk and talk, and I was able to get just some bullet points in there. But then he's very busy as well, so I can't expect him to take a walk with me like several times a week just to talk about this. Oh, I actually don't know.
Okay. How about we take like a step back? Because right now you're thinking of all the ways you could apply this value of fun and reduce the pressure off of yourself and, actually find a way to move forward with what you're trying to do, build your business and all of that. But if we take a step back and we think about your core value of fun and more generally about your negative inner self-talk, what happens if you put the two of them in a relationship?
I actually just got this really odd thought that maybe I could just think that thought that my inner critic is saying and just put a funny voice to it. So instead of it saying, I'm stupid, it's, oh, I'm stupid, just put some kind of, because you just can't take it seriously then, can you? So I could do that, actually, which is so simple, so easy to do. I could even just do it quietly to myself or out loud to make it even funnier. Imagine just being on the middle of the street and just saying it out loud with everyone around. Which actually makes it even more funny because for me, I have no shame really. So
you're cracking me up because I'm imagining you walk down the street or writing your copy and having the thought it's so stupid and you going
Exactly. And I think that could be quite funny. And I think then if you do it, you just can't take that voice seriously. You couldn't take anyone seriously, really, in that voice. So that could actually be quite a good way to just kind of take a step back in a way, actually.
Okay. How do you feel about that in your body right now?
I feel very balanced, which is good because getting to know my intuition and everything, I've noticed that for me, intuition is it's just a feeling of being completely in balance. And that's what I'm feeling now. That it feels like it's gonna work. And then I was thinking, well, what if I don't realize this is what's going on? But then anytime I just think anything bad, whether it's about myself or have just a terrible thought in general, I mean, because we all can sometimes have those judgmental thoughts as much as we prefer not to, then I could just always put that voice, whatever it is, which could be quite a good way to just alert oneself this is what's going on. And then you can just take it from there.
How excited are you to start having those negative self-talk again? On a scale of 1 to 10.
I would say a 6 or a 7, I think. Especially to do it in the middle of the street. That sounds actually hilarious to me. I will do it. I think it's so funny. And it's like I bike to work. And I used to think it was really boring and there was a lot of hills. So I just put on some music and I just started dancing while biking. And you should see how some other people look at me. And I think it's so funny.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. So you're going to be dancing and saying stuff in a funny voice.
100%.
Okay. So how do you feel about that 6/7?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good 7, I think. Yeah. I think, and then why it's not a 10, I think it's more because I'd still rather not have those thoughts. But it's a 7 because I feel more prepared and excited because I feel like it's not going to get in my way as many times. Maybe sometimes it still will, but at least not every time. And that to me would be just such a load off. It really would. And I already feel like just realizing that it's the pressure that's making me really not being able to write. It's even that just saying it out loud just takes it off your shoulders in a very weird way.
That's amazing.
It's nice.
Congratulations for the amazing self-awareness, for knowing yourself so well, and for, being willing to do this.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Well, thank you to you. It's because of your help. So I really appreciate that.
Okay, let's thank, the both of us, and thank you, thank me, thank the universe. It's amazing.
Thank you, universe.
So how are you going to put that in action?
I think what I'm going to do is one thing I think I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to say it out loud, not in my head. I think I'm just going to do it out loud because I think the more ridiculous, the better. And I tend to talk to myself, and so people who know me are quite used to that. And if it's someone where I don't want them to understand what I'm saying, I can just start saying it in Swedish. I'm in England, and no one I'm with speaks Swedish. And I can just do that instead. If I'm at work, for example, and they're used to me speaking Swedish to myself because I think out loud. So I think one is to just say it always out loud, to always do just whatever voice comes to me first, not even think about it, just go for it. And not even hesitate, just do it. Because I think if I give myself my moment to hesitate, I'm going to be like, this is stupid. Do you really think that's going to work? No, it's just do it. Don't let those thoughts come. Because then I'm already stopped it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, great self-awareness. What could get in your way?
I think sometimes I might forget. I think that's the main thing. But as I'm saying it, because right now the main thing this is getting in the way of is writing for the website. And I wonder if I could just put something on that Word document so I see it all the time. I'm not really sure what, but maybe a picture, or I just write something, or might write like a pun or whatever. Just something that makes me smile and laugh a little. And I'm quite easily amused, so it won't be hard to find. But I think then that'll just be a reminder to not take it so seriously. If I'm not taking that document so seriously, then I can't take my thoughts so seriously. And I wonder if even just continuously doing that will help me just to write something. Let's just say I'll write something bad. Because right now, that's just my goal. Just write anything. And then work from there. And I can have my partner help me because he's better with the grammar. But just a starting point, I think.
Great job on connecting your value of fun with something that sounded so daunting at the beginning of our conversation. Really well done. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, how do you want to be held accountable for this?
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it on my to-do list. And so I have actually on my to-do list to do it tomorrow evening to work on the website copy. But I think what I'm going to do instead is, instead of having to write on the website, because I have a few things to do tomorrow evening that kind of have to be done, to instead just find something amusing to put on there. And if I have time and the want, which I think after finding that amusing thing, then I can write, but it's not going to be a requirement. And I'd rather spend some time finding the perfect thing. And I know that sounds terrible saying the perfect thing, but the thing that really just cracks me up, rather than rushing and just finding the first best thing. Sounds like quite a fun evening, actually.
That sounds lovely. Good job.
Thank you.
How would you like to close the session?
I think just to say thank you. This is something that's really been on my mind, so I really appreciate being able to just talk it out in the coaching environment, which is always so helpful to just connect thoughts and things going through one's head that you don't realize are even there or that connect. So thank you.
Thank you, Jenny, really, thank you. J'espère que cet épisode vous aura apporté des pistes de réflexion ou de solutions pour vous-même. N'hésitez pas à réserver votre appel découverte si vous souhaitez être accompagné pour explorer ces pistes. Je serai ravie d'échanger avec vous. En parlant d'échanger avec vous d'ailleurs, j'en profite pour annoncer la gagnante du jeu concours de l'épisode 40. Bravo à Alissa N qui a joué sur Instagram et qui remporte un test ILI et une session de débrief avec moi. Je vous donne rendez-vous dans 2 semaines et d'ici là, prenez soin de vous.